to the Mossy Meadow Minecraft. My name is Elizabeth, and today is day 5 of building 100 builds for a desert town. Today we are going to be building an abandoned mine shaft. I made a little bit of a stone area over here. Well, not made, but I carved out a stone area over here for us to build the abandoned mine shaft and started with placing some stripped birch logs. After placing last log, I noticed that I wanted them to be 3 apart and they were only 2 apart. However, I needed to clear a little bit more stone for that, so I did. And then I decided that I actually wanted them to be 1 block higher. So I did end up deleting this again and moving it up 1 block. Then I wanted to create a little pillar for the front here to mark the opening. I tried with a gate and that didn't really work, so I went to fences. And I needed to do it on the next side as well. Okay, that's now done on the next side. Now to make a back to these pillars, I added some more stairs. Then while looking at it, I decided I did not like the fences and I wanted to replace them with some trap doors to make it more centered for my pillar. And then I had problems placing the trapdoor, but eventually I did get it placed, and then on the other side as well. Now I wanted to have a little bit of color, so I put some warped wood buttons there, and then started on making the archway over the entrance. I added some gates to make the shape of this a little bit more interesting. I added a little bit more warped wood just so they weren't the only blue things on this mine shaft. Okay, now time to build the roof of the mine shaft. So I'm just going to bring it back from the front. Okay, now the bottom needs a bit more support and a back pillar as well, even though I guess that doesn't really need one logistically because it is being held up against the stone, but I wanted to make a back pillar in the back anyway. Now I'm just lining the tops of this with slabs and stairs. Now to add some minor details, I like using signs while building, just because I feel like they add a little bit of, I don't know, texture. The music hasn't really been playing, so I was trying to turn it up, but I guess it still didn't really play much. But look at these signs, so texturing, I don't know, gives it a little bit more of a visual. I'm testing out some different sign placements just to see how they look. Some of them I liked, some of them I didn't, so I kept some and didn't keep others. Now to add some light to this place, I liked lanterns more than torches. especially for builds. I don't generally tend to use them as much when I'm in survival. Obviously, they're harder to get, but I do like to use them a lot in my builds. Now to add some more details like these fences. I'm kind of meh about them just because they're going into stairs, so it's kind of half cut off. I replaced the last couple bits in here with stone, and I also added a campfire, which I'm sure you see in the corner there. Now I am deleting some stone to kind of make the trail go in a little bit, because an abandoned mine shaft to a solid brick or a solid stone wall doesn't really make sense. So I'm kind of just breaking, not really in any clear pattern because this cave doesn't really generate in any clear pattern. Of course, I need a little bit of light down here as well. And now I am going to try to make a rail track going in. At least in creative, I tend to use a lot of powered rails because they're quicker and I don't have patience. So if it lets me use a powered rail, chances are I'm going to use a powered rail. Now, of course, there's the corners and whatnot that don't allow us to use powered rails. And in that case, I do use the normal rails. And I'm sure you're noticing now that I'm not placing any redstone there at the moment. I will place some later in the video. Let's build these rails with me. And of course, all of a sudden something had to go wrong because we hit water. After blocking it off on either side, we continue down our course. I wasn't sure how deep to make this or how long to make this, so I just kind of continued building until it felt right. And I'm sure this is far deeper than I needed to go in this mine, but now I am going to add a block off to it and a sign saying that there is danger. I'm going to add another sign here warning people to go back. Now back at the front, I'm going to add a couple more signs just for some more detail. So I like adding detail to builds. Oh. I'm trying to get the sign to connect right here. But in the process, I have deleted part of the build. So I'm fixing that and then adding this sign back. Now I'm going to see how it looks with some birchwood planks instead of stone, at least for the outer portion out here, not as much for the portion going into the actual cave that I've built itself. I did decide to place a little bit of this birchwood sporadically towards the beginning of the cave, just to make a smoother transition. I also decided to put out this campfire, still keeping it, just putting it out because it is an abandoned mineshaft, not an active mineshaft. So I don't want there to be a lit campfire there. If you'll notice, I'm just kind of sporadically placing these birchwood planks. I don't really have a pattern that I'm doing them in. As long as it is still a usable rail track. Adding some more decor on the inside. Well, I guess not really decor, but detailing, like the minecart with a chest. Um, Decided not to put one on the actual track itself. Another one over here. More sporadic wood. And then I wanted to put a sign here for dangerous levels. I probably should have looked up what would be dangerous levels in a cave, but I didn't. So I just put dangerous levels of radiation. If there's something else that would be better to put, let me know. Another sign here, that's a warning sign. Just kind of want to make it not too plain or boring. Also, it is abandoned, so I want to put some cobwebs. And maybe these should have been the last thing I did, and I should have done them while I was exiting. Because as you'll see, I now get caught on these cobwebs several times. Sometimes, though, it catches me and sometimes it doesn't, even when I'm going through it both the same way 2 times. So I'm not sure why sometimes I can go through it at a normal speed and sometimes I can't. Maybe something to do with creative. It's at this point that I'm realizing really just how far deep I really made this. I'm not going to do too much detail just because I made it very deep. Now to activate all the redstone. The next detail I'm adding throughout here is some just plain wax candles. I'm adding a monster spawner at the end just so that there is something dangerous in here. I may have added too many spawners, so I'm going to take a couple away. I'll be leaving just 2. I don't know why I added like 6 at first, probably got a little bit overexcited. And now back up towards the top through all these cobwebs that at this moment I am regretting placing down. Now, an abandoned mineshaft is not going to have a perfectly made outside, so as much as it pains me and regrettably I am breaking some of the blocks here just so that it looks a little bit more dilapidated and a little bit less pristine in the front, especially with how much I did to the inside. I can't have it looking perfect on the outside. And if there's webs on the inside, then I also want to have these webs on the outside as well. Placing redstone is also always a good way to make something look creepy and abandoned. That kind of activated it there. And then a skeleton skull to add some more creepiness to the vibe. I like adding creepy and lore filled builds to my world. I feel like it just elevates it. So I'm just adding a few of these skulls scattered around. What did they die from? Well, we'll leave that up to the viewer. I'm adding several back here just because it's the danger do not enter zone. I hope you guys like today's build and the creepy and lore aspect to this. If you have any ideas for builds that I should build or things that I should add to this world, let me know. I appreciate the support, the subscribes, the likes, and the comments. Thank you. Bye.